So welcome back, guys. It's great to see all of you again. I have here some very important key updates here in our kind of video series I've been doing. It says Northglenn Halloween tradition, Colorado, had its roots in a tragedy, a story as old as our time. The macabre props and background on display at Northglenn's Safe Street Halloween are not just scary, they actually contain a special, specific meaning for the creator, Northglenn Police Chief Jim May. May sculpts his props, as he calls them, from styrofoam, and they have been a staple at the department-sponsored Halloween celebration since 2002. This year, however, his creations were also displayed at Northglenn Pirate Fest, but began making the pieces uh, after April 22nd, 1999. So they've been around for quite a while. In honor of the shooting at Columbine High School, is what they're claiming. May and some of his fellow officers, together with the Northglenn Thornton SWAT team and task force, were called to assist in the aftermath of this interesting shooting. The death and devastation of those young people made a deep impression on Chief May, at the time the father of two boys. You do not forget seeing something like this, the absolute crushing pain it inflicts on the survivors. Even now, when I close my eyes, I see the reflection staring back. Several members in the SWAT team resigned directly afterward. They realized something important. How police departments nationwide need to do a better job of being role models and connecting with the young people. Both Safe Street Halloween and the Teen Police Academy, a program which is here to teach young people about law enforcement, grew out of the realization. Since first being held in 1999, Safe Street Halloween has been sponsored by the Northglenn Police and located at the Northglenn High School in Northglenn, Colorado. In the beginning, their police officers bought the candy and decorations out of their pocket. So they're paying for it, basically. They have their own out-of-pocket costs, making this very, very important to the community and to the police of the area. Acknowledging his artistic ability has improved over time, Chief May still has a Frankenstein head he carved. It wasn't very good, but I love it. His efforts are all volunteer and the decorations are donated for the community. Working out of a shop in his basement of the home, Chief May stated he has lost count of the number of decorations he's created for the Safe Street Halloween events, but believes it is close to 100. I always learn as I go. While his art can be a little frightening, it provides May with a much-needed retreat. I've seen so much horror and tragedy and interesting things. Creating the decorations is a release for me. It helps me deal with the images in a positive manner. It's also relaxing. Safe Street Halloween has grown from 1,000 attendees in the first year to more than 5,000 year-round. The police collect and distribute 3,500 pounds of donated candy each year. And annually, the Northglenn High School will dress up in their costumes as they decorate the classroom and halls and wait for the trick-or-treaters to come along. Describing it as a huge deal, Chief May acknowledges the efforts made by scores of community volunteers. It has been very good for us. Margot Aldrich is the public communication manager for Northglenn. So very interesting. This has gone on for quite a while here, and I wanted you guys to be able to see a little about kind of what they do in their information on that. Connect this to kind of what's been going on today. This is interesting because there are some strange incidents, is what I will say. in this area of Northglenn. And as you well know by now, due to my video that's been placed there on the Ouija boards, there is something very interesting about seances and how this connects to what's really been going on, in the neighborhoods here. Immerse yourself in a mystical evening of live music, dancing, primal roots, and ecstatic. This is what they call the Denver Witches Ball. Now, remember, of course, with what I've already covered in relation to the temple, kind of the temple of Baal, and keep in mind there are some interesting crossovers here that kind of makes this a little unusual. They hold it always at the Westminster, that's over there near the local airport. Normally that wouldn't be too much of a big deal, but I found some interesting things in relation to this and the events in Northglenn. They talk about it's a mystical experience. It provides a space for trance, drumming, and performance, or prayer-formance, as they call it. It offers an opportunity for diverse and scattered community to come together, and is an opportunity for staff and volunteers to hone skills while giving back to the community. So, one of the odd issues with this festival that they hold here is they talk about how it's all related to Samhain. And for those of you who don't know, the original name for Halloween, as they call it, is actually, it was originally known as Samhain. So that's kind of a fascinating nugget to learn about. And so I'm going to be exploring this a bit because, of course, the tacit concern that has been there for people that have looked into this, and that I have noticed as I kind of really started exploring more, is there is something perhaps occult that's connected to this group who loves to go and do these kind of Samhain inspired events and parties. And everybody, of course, has seen, the series I Know What You Did Last Summer, things like that. But in this context, it's not as much in a joking manner, meaning I think that sometimes people tend to forget these events can inspire certain criminal activities, and often it's well intentioned, by the members of the staff and so forth. But people tend to get a little carried away sometimes with these, these recitals and these dance events. So I'm going to be exploring that a bit here. And of course, that's kind of an unusual image, a Samhain official cat, mascot. So we'll be talking about that a bit here. And just so you know, these are kind of the only videos that are going to be up for right now. There's also the one that's been drafted. It's been being worked on, for a while. It's related to someone called John Podesta, so be sure to look forward to this. But I'm not going to be doing it as much right now, simply because there's a lot going on, and I've been dealing with a lot of things, both with the law and with different parts of my life as far as getting certain new business ventures running, and things like that, that I can't do more than what I'm basically doing right now. I would like to be able to in the near future, but right now I'm just kind of dealing with things, everything came in at once, so I'm just kind of, but the good news is it's going to lead to some very, very good content, in the future here. And of course, shout out to my colleague here, one of my favorite colleagues there, is Sam Bucha. He's got an excellent channel. He does a lot of reviews, interesting things for the community and sponsorships. He likes to, advertise how he sponsors things. So I wanted to give a shout out to him. And the link to his channel, of course, is in the description at the bottom of the video. But yeah, as far as me, I'm going to show you some interesting things here. And I've been studying some very, very important issues, I'll just say, on the internet, which also kind of prevents me from being able to do, consistent video right now. But the good news is we've got that coming. And if my assistant, oh, and as far as Northglenn goes, that's kind of the place they have events sometimes. It's connected to the High Plains Church. And that's a very interesting church, I'll have to get to later. But yeah, it's a nice community out there, pretty quiet. It's just overall, over the years, they've had some really unsolved crimes, and we're going to look at that a little bit. And I have to say that based upon what's been dug up, some of this is definitely related to Sam Hain, and we're going to see exactly what that is. Thank you again. More to come on JTC Investigations. Close. It says family of 16-year-old was slain and Sunday afternoon when the shooting took place. Northglenn police called in to say the fence had been broken and two juveniles entered the yard after an exchange of gunfire between the suspects and the homeowner property. Family members identified 16-year-old Ismael Cordova as one of the key victims. Natasha Rodriguez, Ismael's stepmother, told CBS News of Colorado, "This lady called me where the house was and told me what happened. The two juveniles had been shot. She put her face at it. We thought he was at his girlfriend's house." And she denied that was earlier. Percival's house was also broken into. Her son, "Mom, someone threw a brick through the back door." Airsoft gun was apparently stolen. Percival, the burglar, stated little concerned about what they were going to use it for because airsoft rifles look like real firearms. Northglenn police exchange of gunfire that took place. And Celestina Cordova, "It is senseless. He didn't have to lose his life over this. And he could have given them a after." Cristina Cordova, the mother of Ismael, attempted to speak through tears. "He was a great kid." No decision has been made as to whether the 7th Judicial District Attorney's Office, it's one of several shootings in this area that I've kind of been looking closely at. I suspect, although it's early in the process, to prove this, that there may be some kind of seance involved as far as being linked to these shootings. We know based upon what occurs with, well, game boards or Ouija boards that such a thing is not very uncommon, in certain neighborhoods. And so we're going to look at that. We're going to look at some of these issues a little closer. I just have a hunch that there may be perhaps some kind of a cult or other properties kind of involved with this, and it's very interesting to examine. So thank you here, folks. This is an event that is taking place in Bailey, Colorado. So that's about 20 miles or so maybe half hour from Northglenn. And it states, "Building a stronger, more diverse community through gathering in safe, sacred spaces in the interest of furthering each other's spiritual momentum, and growth. Untamed is an annual pagan festival that deals with camping in the Colorado mountains with music. Pagan fellowship is welcome, and a full kids program also takes place as we do our drumming. Untamed offers a safe and welcoming space for pagans in recovery and the overall community for those seeking a clothing optional camping experience in our society. So, I mean, it's interesting, you know? And I've had the discussion with people. It's like, yeah, that could be the case. And it could be that, you know, all that they do there is just, I don't know, trade recipes for uh, muffins or something like that. But I kind of doubt it. And here's what makes me say that. Open pagan related celebration of diversity. And it's rooted in rituals. That's where it kind of gets a little bit interesting. It says early June in the mountains, this brings us crisp, warm mornings, afternoons, and star-filled nights. Expect yoga, drum circles after dark, and fire circles that keep the magic casting going, and a familiar feeling of home. So, yeah, uh, I admit it could be that all this is just do their baking of English muffins and cupcake, but I just highly doubt it to a degree, and the fact that these events take place so in such close proximity to where the alleged shootings occur tells me there may be more interesting going on here. That's all. We don't have a complete picture yet of what that is, but there's something that's just always kind of felt off. And when they say it's a festival, with rituals and things, do more of what that looks like. Because I guarantee it's not just them drumming after hours. There's some very interesting things that go on there. So I'm going to talk about it. But as you know, with the video related to Baal, kind of the understanding about Baal, here where it says that there was a fatal shooting. Let me see if I can pull this up here. It's just it's a little too close to comfort, you know. The festival is taking place and it's like not more than 15 or 20-minute drive away from where these happened. Just something about that, seems a little bit off. So that's what I was going to get to for a moment here. There's several different events that took place. Most of them were related to some kind of burglary or shooting and so on. And, then of course there's this Untamed happening out here, kind of in the mountain area just outside it. So all I'm going to say is I doubt that that's a coincidence. We think all the time that maybe people just pick up a firearm and decide to rob their neighbor. Um, and yeah, I mean, circumstances happen. But when they happen, twice or three times, it starts starts to get a little clearer that there might be some occult influence of some kind. And that's been pretty common. Sometimes people will find there's groups who cast spells, they cast seances. And when they do this, this can cause unusual events to actually transpire that normally would not occur. Like people could suddenly get strange ideas, like it's a good idea to rob their neighbor, in their neighborhood, or attack somebody at random. Because, I mean, people, they can let off steam. You all know, you well know that. But we're talking about something that's a little more um, unusual than that. And, opening fire on somebody, or, I don't know, creating a bonfire in someone's backyard, and arson or just strange activities like that are more often linked to the occult than people would initially like to believe. And that's kind of why I, in particular, specialize in that and look into that in the way that I do, because I know and understand these are not normal, events or normal circumstances. There's something else that's there or something that's going on. It's just the determining of exactly what that something might be, and that usually takes longer than people would normally like. So anyway, it states Untamed is the first community event for all pagans in a long time, and they love their workshops. So sorry, I just find that a little bit hilarious, a little bit interesting that they love their workshops. But anyway, I think I think you all get the picture here. So once more, don't believe everything you hear, in the news. People can claim that, but more often than not, there is just other things linked to it. Like that is not going to say anything most of the time. They're going to leave that. They want people to be thinking about these more important. Yeah, there's a lot of haunted, but I just wish to share that with you guys and give you kind of a heads up of what's been discovered, what we've kind of uncovered here. And it says the man who was actually shot in Northglenn was shot on a Friday. So that's interesting because it's near the area where Ismail Ismail was shot, where he was slain. So I wanted people to know about kind of why people have really paid it, this incident and looking at it pretty closely. It says they arrived at the 1300 block of Regina Lane, and there were reports of someone being shot. Wood police, of course, said that a Pontiac Grand Am and a dark-colored four-door sedan were in the roadway when the shots were fired. The identity of those involved or the victim has not been released. The Metro Denver Crime Stoppers works by assigning a code to those who anonymously submit a tip. So I know some people who have submitted tips on this, and yeah, they're kind of still perplexed on what really happened. It's interesting. A 21-year-old was shot in that same area, and when I'm saying the same area, we're talking about just to make sure no one mixes this up. We're talking about two different shooting incidents. kind of close to, and that was interesting. These incidents kind of took place near the same time of Sam Hain, Halloween. Not to be off topic here, but if you ever see someone just in your neighborhood, not like maybe running across the street or something, but that it just seems like they're doing something strange or that doesn't belong, like maybe that they're wearing a Halloween. It's always good to be able to keep people apprised, and informed, because we live in a very different world today. So if you see something and it feels like it is just a miss for some reason, if it just seems like it may not fit or may not belong, tell somebody, inform somebody, let your family know. So that's very, very important. And it helps all of us ultimately. 3 people who were shot, they were on Belford Drive. And Belford Drive is interesting, because that's still pretty close to where the other victim, the that's close to a place where a lot of people go, late at night for having some. But again, matters is the most thing, eyes peeled, who was the victim, who was 21 years old in Northglenn. This took place on Regina Lane. That's important to know because, yeah, I mean um, it's a distance away, but it's not like more than a few miles from Belford Drive. And so the part that I want people to pay attention to is, each of these shootings, all 3 of them, took place in an area that's very close to Belford Drive. And we see the same dark colored 4-door sedan, see, is mentioned here in the Channel 9 news report. And so my understanding of that was, or my hunch on it, is that the same people were involved that were behind the shooting, that happened on Belford Drive. I think that's very important, to be aware of that. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts and theories? What you guys have to say and so on is always the most important. So sound off in the comments, of course, down below. But yeah, I would say three different shooting incidents, including the one of Ismail, taking place in an area that's very close to northern Northglenn, in kind of in the same basic location almost, and having a pagan festival that's, a quote, free magic ceremony festival going on, not more than 25 minutes away from there. I don't know. I mean, it could be coincidence, but based upon certain things, I've encountered, there's ultimately no such thing as coincidence. So, anyway, yeah, we're going to look at that for a moment. There's one more thing I wanted to show you sometimes at these, pagan type of parties or events. I felt was pretty interesting and definitely worthy of note. Thank you. There's always more to explore. Spirits. This article delves deeper into the art of conducting seances, offering insights into its history and preparation. So, harmless at the pagan, festival like which is about 20 or 25 minutes, I guess, from Northglenn. They are sexual ghosts, spirits, as they call it, from the other side. And when someone would be participating with this. That's just going to, it's going to cause strange things or events to take place, you know? People should not be conducting seances near neighborhoods there was possible shootings, seen or cited. Seances have a rich history that dates back to the 19th century, and it as igniting the spiritual momentum, the movement, after communicating with spirits through rapping sounds. An interest grew ever since, as seances became a popular social activity. Halls and rooms filled with candles deceased. This practice evolved over time and led to a myriad of unusual rituals as a result. The primary purpose of a seance is to establish contact with spirits or energies that you have no business dealing with, right? That have passed on into the afterlife. Participants may seek closure, guidance, or messages from loved ones who have departed. Others are motivated by just curiosity. Regardless of the intentions proposed, participants should approach seances with skepticism and respect. It's essential to understand that each experience varies very widely, and while there may be profound connection sometimes, this may not be the experience. Goals will guide the session's energy in the right direction. The physical location plays a significant role in setting the tone for a seance. Seances can be performed solo or in large groups. Many believe that having multiple participants enhances the collective energy and fosters deeper connections, growth. Selecting participants, consider inviting individuals who share similar interests and are open minded. While not mandatory, various tools can enhance the seance experience. So they use large, kind of pagan crystals. Well, they use candles as well, and they use a pendulum to communicate with the dead, essentially. Before beginning, it is customary to create a circle by joining hands with participants. So these are the types of activities that they don't publicly announce, but that go on, at these pagan type of parties or pagan festivals. To a room, join hands in a circle most often, and actually call upon spirits, Ouija boards, and other instruments. When they do this, it doesn't matter what people have told you, from before, okay? But when they do this, this impacts our world. People end up doing things they don't normally do. Strange or just unusual activities suddenly happen in neighborhoods. People sometimes fly off, the deep end. There could be other things linked to just unusual crimes like shootings or similar things. And so don't be involved with groups, especially in my opinion, that summon spirits from the other realm. Don't get heavily involved in seances. If you need to, well, contact the dead or contact someone important, go to a fortune teller or someone very experienced, in that field, and sit down with them. Don't do it yourself. Yeah. Don't go into a group that does this because it causes situations out there, folks. And it truly does cause crime. So I want you guys to kind of bookmark this video again, and come back to explore it later. But yes, seances are not actually a really great thing, and they are tied to occult ways of doing things or perhaps rituals. Thank you again. And learn is good.